The twisting fate of Una Blackwing, the Dragonborn princess of Zenistria, speaks both to the chains of destiny and the transformative power of choice. Her origins are steeped not in love, but in ambition and manipulation. The daughter of Queen Ula, she was a tool forged in the fires of deceit and tragedy. Her mother, a cold and calculating monarch, viewed Una not as a child, but as the final resort to her dynastic aspirations, especially when Una's elder brothers, Gilgamesh and Zek, escaped her lethal machinations. From her birth, Una was enveloped in a world where emotions were liabilities, and loyalty was a currency traded for power. Her environment was cold, yet in this bleak household, Una excelled. With innate intelligence and a spark for manipulation, she learned the arts of alchemy and elemental magic, mastering them with a chilling ferocity that would make her mother proud. Queen Ula's lessons taught Una to wield these gifts as weapons, and for a time, Una embraced the role she was carved out to play. It wasn't until Rubicon Whiteclaw entered her life that Una experienced warmth and affinity, emotions foreign to her upbringing. Rubicon was the son of a palace entertainer. His mere existence seemed inconsequential in the grand scheme of Zenistria's power dynamics. Yet his presence was profound. Where Una's interactions were typically marked by fear and obedience, Rubicon was unflinching. His wit and laughter disarmed her calculated tactics, revealing to Una a world unfettered by deceit. Rubicon's friendship was revolutionary. It painted her sterile, monochrome world into vibrant hues of camaraderie and compassion. Just as swiftly as he had arrived, Rubicon disappeared, leaving Una with only the echo of what could have been. Disoriented and heartbroken, she returned to her mother's shadow, the call of her friendship with Rubicon growing dimmer as she grew older. But seeds of doubt had already been sown, and they lingered under the surface, waiting for another chance to blossom. The alchemy and artificing contest provided Una another pivotal encounter, Gracia Goldenflame. Unlike Una, Gracia led with kindness. Her authoritative grace inspired rather than intimidated. When Gracia offered her trophy to Una, it was an unforeseen kindness that reframed Una's understanding of strength, not as a pure measure of dominance, but as an influence forged by respect and admiration. The late-night invitation to a carnival from Rubicon the Entertainer brought a whirlwind of unresolved emotions and questions storming back into Una's heart. Rubicon had changed. No longer a boy, but a young Dragonborn fully aware of his charms and capacities. Alongside Gracia, the trio explored the vibrant night, providing Una with a microcosm of the world outside her mother's rigid hold. Here, Una experienced flashes of her own potential, one not determined by manipulation or domination, but by genuine connection. However, all was not well in the kingdom of Zenistria. The war against the kingdom of Amistad, driven by Ula's insatiable thirst for power, consumed Una. As her mother deployed her as a weapon on the battlefield, Una's path seemed set in stone, a destroyer of her own potential, shrouded by Ula's ambitions. Drenched in the blood of war, the hope of change seemed a distant echo. Her fate appeared unyielding. Yet, in those rare, reflective moments, when Una recalled Rubicon's laughter or Gracia's kind eyes, her heart rebelled. She began questioning her mother's orders, sometimes hesitating where once her resolve was absolute. In the silence of her own thoughts, Una harbored the growing suspicion that there might be more to power than fear, and more to identity than the path chosen by someone else. The seeds of change were now deeply rooted within Una's heart. While she couldn't entirely break free from Ula's influence, cracks in her loyalty emerged. Whether it would take a cataclysmic event or a new encounter to finally tilt the scales remained uncertain. But one thing was increasingly clear. Una Blackwing was teetering on the precipice of redemption, the whisper of the person she might become clamoring against the silence of the role she had been assigned. In the dark corridors of Zenistria's palace and the battlefields of Amistad, the legacy of Una Blackwing hung in balance, a tale of conflict between destiny and self-determination. The question was no longer whether there was hope for Una, but whether she would dare to grasp it. Her fate lingered in the threads of possibility, waiting for her to weave a new narrative, a story of upheaval not driven by acid and fire, but by love and redemption.